on the agenda is commissioners' comments.
I just have one. It was some time ago that we approved a prefab sustainable construction house over the Cabriner House, and it's been built and it's been featured in Dwell magazine. There's a multiple-page spread about it that talks about what a wonderful idea it is and how well it was executed. So,
What's the location? I wasn't here. What street is it on?
On Beaudry,
It's on Beaudry, just north of 53rd.
right behind my house.
Okay.
It's built by Simpatico, is the
Or
builder that did it,
55th,
lives
rather,
there.
north of 55th.
Oh, okay.
Right around the corner from the Doyle Street
By the cafe. Yeah.
Did they talk about how expensive it is?
I do have some kind of a lengthy comment, and it's basically looking toward our future. And when we've been looking at a lot of developments that come up, we're hearing a lot of reasons why we're getting what we're getting, such as low-rise stucco buildings, is because of the cost of development and the cost of property and stuff. And I've been paying a lot of attention to what's been going on in the area, and particularly in San Francisco. And as I know, Emeryville is not San Francisco. I have always looked at us as a very minute San Francisco, because everything San Francisco offers, we offer in a very, very small form. And I just think as commissioners, I'd like us to take a more serious look in a stronger stance with developers. And I've got 3 articles from the San Francisco Bay Times, or the San Francisco Business Times. And in that, there's a number of things. Somebody just bought a really big commercial property in Walnut Creek. And it says, institutional buyers like Tishman Speyer have turned their gaze towards the East Bay as prices for buildings in San Francisco and the peninsula near record highs. The East Bay's recovery has been slower, he said, but submarkets in downtown Walnut Creek, Emeryville, Oakland Center, and Pleasant Hill BART are bright spots for institutional investors and tenants getting priced out of San Francisco. So, I mean, the writing is on the wall that and our proximity to San Francisco makes us a viable player in the game. And the properties we have in Emeryville are far and few between, and I'm really fearful of us squandering these precious resources on, and I have no problem with the developer making a profit. I know how they provide jobs and money, but I think they can build better products and make better profits if they just make a more long-term investment. And I know that's probably not what they want to do. But another thing, another article about a new hotel going into Mission Bay says that downtown San Francisco is one of the most difficult cities for new construction due to land scarcity and the high barriers for new construction. So what's happening there, what they're saying that they can't build here is happening there. And building in San Francisco is going nuts. They've got so many new buildings in the pipeline, and it's just unreasonable to think that we can't get a spillover of 1% in Emeryville. So as planning commissioners, I'd just like us to keep that in mind when we get projects on our few remaining parcels, especially these signature parcels like Site B, like the Nady site, and that we ask the developers, we want you to make a profit, and we understand that building rental units is something you can sell easier and start turning a profit faster than condominiums. But condominiums are selling. They're selling in San Francisco. One unit sold out with a waiting list. I've talked to Bay Bridge, which they're selling very inexpensively, but they have a waiting list. And I think that, as we talked before, we need people who are invested in Emeryville. And I think in projects like Sherman-Williams, that's a big project, and I think we could ask for at least one building of condominiums in that space. So I just, in asking this, I just want us as a commission to really look at the bigger picture and overall, and I think we do. But when a developer says, well, that's really not marketable for us, I think we need to push the envelope a little more and use what we know is happening around us as a basis for, yes, you can do that.
But most of the buildings going up in San Francisco are rental, not condominiums.
There's a lot of condominiums. I mean, we're talking maybe 25-50 or 25-75%, but they're still building condos. We're getting none.
Yeah, but not in the same quantity, and they tend to be super luxury rather than...
Right, but what I'm saying is they're building condos there and they're selling. So that doesn't mean that, out of a 8.5 acre site with 4 buildings going on, one of those buildings can't be condos. And that's all I'm saying is that we need, as commissioners, we have that right to not only follow the general plan, but to look out for our future.
Well, I thought they said at Sherman-Williams they're doing it in phases, and one of the later phases could be a condominium.
Could be, yeah.
But and it was gonna be high-rise too. But, you know, it's what you can get financing for is the,
Well, if San Francisco's getting financing, when building costs there cost more than they do here, I mean, I know the Nady site is nothing compared to the cost that people pay for land in San Francisco. Nothing at all. I mean, it's a fraction. So that can't be the driving factor. So I think we can, you know, I'm just saying, we're not going to get everything we want, but we have to ask.
So just food for thought. I think actually been meaning to bring this up, but I think just because actually we approve condo projects doesn't mean we're going to get ownership units, and just because we approve rental units doesn't mean we're not going to get ownership units as well. I think so. I think a lot of times developers will build rental units to sort of wait out the construction defect period and then convert them to condos, which is you know, it's a legitimate tactic. And then the other thing is, I think a lot of, especially here, I know of several condominium projects where most of the units are rented. And it's actually, I think it's worse for the project and worse for, I would say, even the community to have that situation, because the buildings aren't managed well. They're managed by an HOA, which doesn't have the ability to manage like an apartment building does.
well, PPP is only about 50% owner occupied, and Watergate is about the same.
Yeah,
Yet they seem to be well-managed projects.
I think when you have projects that are that have that many units, you can do that, because I think the HOAs are better off and can manage better. But I think when you have small to medium-sized projects, you get in trouble real fast.
So what projects are you about? Because I ride by
excuse
several
me.
Pulte projects.
Commissioner Keller, so commissioner comments period is generally reserved for short announcements. My concern is that the discussion is starting to get into an area of discussion that hasn't been agendized. So if the commission would like to have a discussion about the topics that you're talking about now, I would suggest that we agendize that, and you can have a full discussion amongst yourself, or if it's something that we would want to agendize for, let's say, something to put on your retreat, for example, we could do that as well. But my concern is that we're starting to have a non-agendized discussion.
Yeah, one other thing, Charlie, we talked early fall about doing a tour, and we put it off until the winter because we'd had the big problem with the art.com sign, and we thought it would be good to do our tour, and it was darker, and look at signs. And do you think we could still plan something like that?
Well, my recollection is that the most recent discussion the commission had was that you decided you'd rather have a tour of family-friendly housing.
I think that's what we're
Yeah,
talking
I think
So we're thinking about that.
Would be up to that one instead?
Sure, yeah.
We could do it in the daytime.
Good, then I can go home and go to sleep.
Yeah.
family-friendly housing with LED signs. That'll
An
narrow it down.
oxymoron?
Impact of LED signs on family-friendly housing.
Housing shore is to find family-friendly housing.
There you go. Well,
Well, the meeting.